How many times have you sat in the dark, heart heavy, filled with regret, not because you failed, but because you never even started? An idea left hanging, a dream put on hold, an opportunity slipped by, simply because you were waiting to feel ready, waiting for someone to believe in you, waiting for a sign that now is the time. But here's the truth: no one is coming to give you the green light. While you wait, life moves on. Time doesn't pause. The things you long for begin to drift further away. And the hardest part, you know you're letting them slip, not because you can't, but because you won't take the first step. Stoicism, a philosophy born from people who lived through chaos and loss, doesn't teach you to wait. It teaches you to master yourself, to act, even when you're afraid, to live by reason, without needing permission, not perfection, just a beginning. If you're tired of watching your life from the sidelines, this video isn't just something to watch. It's a wake-up call. After today, you won't wait anymore. Number 1. The present is all you have. Have you ever picked up your phone for a quick scroll, only to look up and realize an entire hour has slipped away? Have you ever thought about starting something, learning a new skill, exercising, writing, apologizing to someone, but then put it off because it just didn't feel like the right time? There's always a reason. Too busy, too tired, waiting for motivation, waiting until after the holidays. But if you really pay attention, you'll notice you're using those exact waiting moments just to get through the day. Always waiting, but never starting. Here's a truth most people avoid. You only have this moment. Not next year, not next Monday. Not when you get the degree, the money, or a bit more free time. Even the breath you're taking right now, there's no guarantee you'll get to release it. Yet we live as if time is endless, as if some future, better version of ourselves will show up one day and handle everything for us. A friend of mine once dreamed of opening a coffee shop. She spent 3 years planning, researching, taking notes, mapping out every detail, but she never started. There was always a reason: not enough capital, not the right location, not done with her barista course. In the 4th year, her mother passed away in a sudden accident. That's when it hit her. She had been waiting more than she had been living. Stoic philosophy doesn't say we must do everything right now. It simply emphasizes this: everything begins with action in the present. No idea is good enough if it stays locked in your mind. No dream is beautiful enough if it's bound by "not yet." Marcus Aurelius once said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't a morbid quote. It's a wake-up call, a reminder that every moment you're alive is a privilege. You might not change the world today, but you can wash the dishes right after eating. Call the person you've been angry with. Turn off YouTube and open the book you meant to read last month. Small things, but real. How many times have you chosen to wait instead of begin? And what would change if you took action, even just 1% each day? It doesn't have to be bold. It just has to be now. The philosopher Kierkegaard wasn't a Stoic, but he said something that hits home. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. We only grasp the value of time in hindsight, but we only live by moving forward. So right now, stop reading, stop overthinking, do the thing you've known deep down you need to do. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for perfect timing, because the perfect time is right now. And if your heart hesitates, your mind second guesses, your gut twists from pressure, don't give up. Because in the next part, you'll understand why. Action doesn't just lead to results. It's the most powerful remedy for the anxiety that's been quietly eating away at you. Number 2, action beats anxiety. You wake up with your head pounding like a drum. There's nothing specific to worry about, but you still feel drained. Like someone is holding your head underwater, not enough to drown, just enough to suffocate. You scroll on your phone for a while, then put it down. The thought of work fills you with dread. The future feels like a blur. Morning bleeds into afternoon, and still nothing changes. No one's holding you back except you. There's a truth most people don't want to face. Anxiety doesn't disappear by thinking less. It fades when you start doing something, anything. Action, no matter how small, is the antibiotic for a mind inflamed by overthinking. Think of a mother. Her child is sick. The house is a mess. Her husband's away on a business trip. She doesn't have time to sit around and worry. She's washing dishes, calling the doctor, cooking porridge, cleaning up. Her mind isn't empty, but it's not panicking either. Why? Because she's in motion. Meanwhile, you might spend an hour agonizing over a single email, not because it's hard, but because your mind is stuck in about to do instead of doing. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Worry isn't something to dissect. It's something to overcome with your hands, your feet, your effort. Have you noticed how simply tidying your desk, doing laundry, or taking a 10-minute walk can make your mind feel lighter? It's because those acts pull you out of the maze of what-ifs. You're no longer trapped in imagined disasters. You're here. You're present. David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL, once weighed 297 pounds, suffered from depression, and scraped by cleaning up after pests. No one would have guessed he'd become one of the world's most relentless endurance athletes. But Goggins got up at 5 a.m., ran through pain, studied for the military test, day by day, step by step. He didn't wait to feel motivated. He acted through hopelessness and built motivation from scratch. That's what saved him. The problem is, we think we need to sort out our feelings before we can act. But action is how we sort them out. It's like a glass of dirty water. Staring at it won't make it clear. You have to pour in clean water, bit by bit, until the glass clears. That clean water, that's action. So what are you waiting for? Inspiration, perfection. Here's the bad news, they're not coming. But the good news, you don't need them. All you need is to do one small thing. Open your laptop, type one sentence, wash one dish, make one call. Action leads to more action, and soon anxiety loses its grip on your mind. Every time you procrastinate, you're teaching yourself, "I'm not ready yet." The longer you wait, the weaker you feel. So flip the script. Teach your body that it can move even when it's scared. Teach your mind it can choose momentum over paralysis. Teach yourself, "I don't need to feel ready, I just need to start." Because if you don't start now, you risk falling into a trap worse than worrying, craving something so perfect you never begin. And that brings us to the next lesson, where we expose the most seductive enemy of all dreams, the illusion of perfection. Number 3, waiting for perfection is a trap. Have you ever heard someone say, "I'll start my business when I have enough capital, enough knowledge, and enough confidence"? A year later, they're still in the same place, only now they're revising their perfect business plan for the 19th time. The Stoics didn't believe in that kind of thinking. They didn't wait for ideal conditions. They acted, even when things were messy. Seneca once wrote, "While we are postponing, life speeds by." And it's true. You don't need another self-help book. You need to get up, make that phone call you've been avoiding, send that email you've edited 17 times, or simply do the dishes. In Los Angeles, there was a guy named Ryan, passionate about cooking, dreaming of starting a food truck selling Mexican fusion. Instead of launching, Ryan spent 2 years scrolling Pinterest, photographing dishes, testing recipes, reading truck reviews, and sketching logos. But he never bought the truck. Why? The timing isn't right. One afternoon, while waiting for coffee in Venice Beach, Ryan saw an old man pushing a churro cart under the scorching sun, drenched in sweat. No branding, no fancy design, just hot churros and a long line of customers. Ryan walked over, bought a serving, and asked, "How did you get started?" The old man replied, "I didn't wait. I was hungry, I needed money, and I knew how to make churros. That's it." That same day, Ryan went home, got on Craigslist, and bought his first used truck. We often believe there's a perfect version of ourselves waiting to emerge. But the only version that can create change is the one you are now, flawed, uncertain, but present. Don't romanticize action as something that requires total confidence or a divine spark. You might not notice it, but procrastination often wears a clever disguise. You call it preparing, doing more research, waiting for motivation. But the truth, it's fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failing, fear of doing it wrong. Be honest with yourself. How many things do you already know you should do, but haven't, because you're waiting to do it right? Stoics don't need perfection, they need motion. If you're stuck, cut the complexity. Choose one small, clear, simple action and do it. Make the call, send the email, publish the post, book the appointment. It doesn't have to be impressive, it just has to be real. And once you do it, you'll realize what you needed wasn't a flawless plan, it was momentum. Perfection is just procrastination with a diploma. You don't need to wait. You need to dare to begin in the midst of uncertainty. The more you act, the clearer things get. The more you move, the more the path reveals itself. Don't let tomorrow be the reason nothing happens today. Pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, what am I postponing by calling it preparation? If you know the answer, do it. Do it now. Because if you're still thinking, maybe I just need a bit more time to be ready, then what you actually need to hear is this. Ready doesn't exist. It's just a story you tell yourself to avoid facing the fear of action. Number 4, you'll never feel ready. Have you ever stood at the door of the gym, fully dressed, headphones on, yet your feet refuse to move? Not because you were tired, but because a quiet voice in your head whispered, maybe tomorrow. That feeling, that sneaky, convincing sense of not ready, is dangerous. It delays your workouts, makes you miss appointments, keeps your ideas bottled up in meetings, even stops you from sending a simple message because you think it's not the right time. But here's what Stoicism teaches us. Readiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you build through action. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations when life was calm and easy. He wrote it during war, illness, and inner chaos. Someone once asked, "How do I become brave enough to start?" The Stoic answer, "Starting is the only way to become brave." No one learns to speak confidently in public without standing up and talking while their heart pounds. No class will cure your fear of failure like showing up to an interview with sweaty palms and smiling anyway. That feeling of not enough isn't a red light. It's a map. It points to where you need to go next. The Stoics didn't try to erase fear. They carried it with them and moved forward anyway, because they knew the real danger was doing nothing at all. A child doesn't learn to walk by watching adults. They wobble, fall hard, cry, but they get back up, not because they're ready, but because waiting never even crossed their mind. But us? The older we get, the better we get at postponing. How many times have you said, "Maybe later"? How often have you convinced yourself, "I'm not ready yet"? The question isn't, "Am I ready?" The real question is, "Am I willing to begin even though I'm not?" Seneca once wrote, "No man was ever wise by chance. Strength doesn't show up by accident. It's built in the moments when you act, especially when you feel weakest. The mind follows action, just like a shadow follows your steps. As Ecclesiastes says, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. If you don't start when it matters, don't expect to reap when it counts. Action doesn't wait for the right season. It waits for you. So if you're hesitating right now, to make that call, to say sorry, to start the thing you know you should, do one small, specific thing. Open your phone. Type one sentence. Stand up. You don't have to feel ready. Just move. Your mind will catch up, like a shadow following your steps. If this made you pause and reflect, good, but don't just think. Do something, even something small. And if you want to keep growing through everyday decisions, stick around. Hit subscribe. Not for me, for you. For the version of you that's done waiting. Number 5. Value lies in action, not outcome. You're standing in front of a sink full of dirty dishes after a long, draining day. No one asked you to do it. No one will reward you for it. But you roll up your sleeves and start anyway. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. No applause needed. No recognition expected. The satisfaction comes from the act itself, not from anything that follows. The Stoics call this living by reason, and reason doesn't need an audience. A Stoic doesn't act for praise, for success, or for some external gain. They act out of duty, because it's in line with nature and true to human character. A mother tidies her child's room every morning, though no one thanks her. A driver picks up trash in the car, though no one notices. A student studies hard, unsure if the grades will reflect the effort. These small acts, seemingly trivial, are the clearest proof of inner values. Action is everything. You might prepare thoroughly for a presentation, practice all week, and still get poor feedback from the judges. You might offer a sincere apology, only to be met with rejection. In moments like these, Stoic wisdom reveals its power. If you act only for outcomes, you'll give up. But if you act because it's the right thing to do, you'll stay grounded, no matter the result. That's the strength of those who live by reason. They're not hostage to the world's response. It's the same at work. You might follow the rules, act with integrity, and refuse shady shortcuts, only to be passed over by someone who didn't. Frustration is natural. But then ask yourself, if I cheat to win, am I still myself? Even when no one's watching, your conscience is. A dishonest act chips away at your self-respect like a crack in a mirror. It may be small, but it never goes away. On the other hand, living rightly, even when inconvenient, lets you face yourself each morning without shame. A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions, wrote Marcus Aurelius. But look deeper. If your only ambition is success, then your worth stops there. If your ambition is to live rightly, to act with integrity, you're reaching a higher level, where the act itself holds value. You may not always win, but you'll always stand tall. Think back to the last time you helped someone and got no thanks. Did it bother you? If so, it might be time to retrain your mindset. Act rightly like watering a tree. Don't rush the fruit. Don't demand the harvest. Just care for it patiently, because that's who you are. When the fruit comes, and where the wind carries it, is no longer your concern. We're taught to wait for the right moment, to weigh the benefits before acting. Stoicism says the opposite. Don't wait. Waiting breeds hesitation. Those who live by reason act now, because what's right shouldn't be delayed. When you stop asking, will this be useful, and start asking, is this the right thing to do, you're shifting into a new frame of reference, where freedom lies in your actions, not in the outcomes. And if you've watched this far, you're already halfway through this video. Don't stop now. What comes next will deepen your understanding of a rational, resilient, and purposeful life. Each point builds on the last. They're not standalone lessons, but pieces of a larger whole, a life lived with clarity, strength, and intent. Stick with it to the end, not just to hear the message, but to live it. Number 6. Fear of failure is the real obstacle. There's a quiet, persistent kind of failure, one more paralyzing than any stumble, the failure to even begin. You don't write the book you've dreamed of, don't say what's on your mind, don't start the business you've always wanted, all because of one familiar question echoing in your head. What if I fail? But maybe the real question should be, what if I never try? In Stoicism, fear of failure isn't something to erase, it's something to push through. Just like darkness vanishes when you flip on the light, fear fades the moment you take the first step. Stoicism teaches that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. As Epictetus once said, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? So, how much longer will you wait to truly live? Many people wait. Wait until they feel confident. Wait until the fear goes away. Wait until they feel ready. But life doesn't wait with them. Consider a situation we all know too well. Sending the first message after an argument. You want to make peace, to apologize, but your finger hovers over the send button. You're afraid they won't reply. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid of looking weak. So you lock your phone and tell yourself, maybe tomorrow. But that small choice, or the lack of one, is shaping who you're becoming. To act or not to act, both are decisions. The difference is, action leads to change. Inaction leads to repetition. Ever seen a child learning to walk? They fall constantly, sometimes in tears, but they always get back up. Failure doesn't exist in their mind, only the instinct to keep going until they can stand. We were once like that, until we grew up and learned to fear judgment, embarrassment, and falling short. But ask yourself, what makes a grown adult less brave than a toddler learning to walk? It's all in the head. We think too much and act too little. Fusajiro Yamauchi, the founder of Nintendo, knew nothing about tech when he moved from making playing cards to building game consoles. He didn't wait until he felt ready, because he understood something vital. Waiting doesn't make you better, only older. And really, how many things in life have you started with no guarantee it was the right move? Even reading these words might be one of them. Try this. The next time you hesitate, count down from 5. When you hit 1, go. Make the call. Hit send. Write the first 3 lines. Don't overthink it. It's not a mind trick. It's how you train your brain to see yourself as someone who acts, not someone who waits. A Stoic doesn't wait for fear to pass before starting. They act, and fear transforms into momentum. Every shaky step makes you a little stronger. That's how resilience is built, not in theory, but in everyday choices. Sending the message, speaking up, saying no, asking for help, daring to begin again. Yes, you might fail. You might even fail more than once. But living your whole life without ever trying isn't avoiding failure. It's choosing a quieter, more stubborn kind of failure, one that teaches you nothing. So who do you want to be? The person who stumbles forward, or the one who stands still and calls it safety? And when you do start moving, what keeps you going when no one's cheering, no one's waiting for you at the finish line? It's not fear anymore, and not ambition. It's the awareness that action is a moral duty to yourself and to life. And that's what we'll explore next. Number 7, right action is a moral duty. You know what's right, but do you actually do it? This isn't just a philosophical question. It's the silent test life gives you every single day. For the Stoics, words and thoughts mean little without action. Action isn't something extra you do when you have the energy. For someone committed to living rightly, action is a moral obligation. No one lives rightly just by thinking rightly. You've seen it before. A friend always saying they'll apologize to someone, start working out, or do something kind for their parents. But day after day, nothing changes. Maybe you've been that person too. It's not that we don't know what to do. We just don't take the step. Knowledge that isn't applied is just a key never put into a lock. Here's an image that might stick with you. Wisdom without action is like an arrow that never leaves the bow. It might be finely crafted, but it's useless. A Stoic knows this well. Right action is the essence of virtue. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's something you must do. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. There's a story you should hear because it might be about you or a part of you you've been avoiding. James was a typical office worker. Went to work, came home, lived in that familiar space of, I know I need to change. He read philosophy books, listened to self-help podcasts, filled notebooks with reflections on what's right, but nothing changed. One morning, he got news that his closest friend had died suddenly in an accident. James sat frozen at the kitchen table, remembering all the times he'd meant to call, but told himself, not now. And now there would be no next time. That was his turning point. He didn't need more motivation. He needed to move. That same day, he sent an email requesting 3 days off and began the journey he had delayed for 3 years, visiting his mother in another state, apologizing to his ex, enrolling in a course he'd always wanted to take. Nothing magical happened, except this. He finally started living in alignment with what he knew to be true. Are you putting off something you know you should do? How many times have you told yourself, later, and later never came? This is your moment to pause, not to rest, but to face what you've been avoiding. Place your hand on your chest and ask yourself, what is right? And why haven't I done it? If you don't know where to begin, start here. Write down 3 things you know are right but haven't done. Just 3. No judgment. Then choose 1. Do it within the next 24 hours. Not for the result. Just because it's right. Every time you act, you train your moral muscle, the one that steadies you when life gets messy. Don't confuse delay with preparation. don't wait until you feel ready, because that moment may never come. When you know what's right and still stay still, you silently allow the wrong to persist. This is the moment, not to prepare more, to act. Don't just live rightly in your mind. Live it with your hands, your feet, your real steps forward. So, what do you think of the idea that action is a moral duty? Is there something you know is right, but still haven't done? Share it below. Your one step might inspire someone else to move. And if you're ready to begin, carry one more thing with you on this path: discipline. Because it's not inspiration, but discipline that will keep your feet on the ground, day after day. Number 8. Discipline sets you free. There's a paradox few people want to face. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Real freedom begins when you have the strength to not do what you impulsively crave. Someone might stay up watching meaningless videos until 3 a.m., eat whatever they're craving, or procrastinate until the last minute and think they're free. But in reality, they're a slave to themselves. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't follow emotions. They followed reason. They chose discipline not out of self-denial, but because it's the only true path to inner freedom. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Just look at daily life. You might set your alarm for 6 a.m., only to hit snooze and sleep another hour. You might plan to read for 30 minutes each night, but end up scrolling on your phone until your eyes ache. That fleeting pleasure of doing what you feel like feels good in the moment. But what follows? Guilt, regret, pressure piling up. That's the price of giving in. So are you truly free, or just living in a soft prison wrapped in the velvet of excuses? Discipline is the key. But discipline isn't about grinding yourself into exhaustion. It's about organizing your life in a way that aligns with who you really are. You don't have to be a soldier. You just have to start with the smallest promises. Wake up when you said you would. Work during the time you planned. Eat like someone who respects their body. Say no to easy choices. Every time you do that, you reinforce one thing. You are steering the ship, not your fleeting emotions. What's surprising is this: when you start living with discipline, you don't feel restricted, you feel lighter. Lighter because you're no longer torn between what you should do and what you're actually doing. Lighter because every action has a clear purpose. That's the freedom of someone who is fully awake. So ask yourself, are you living as a free person, or are you constantly betraying the principles you claim to believe in? No one else can answer that for you. Here's one way to start, right now. Pause everything. Turn off the screen. Be still for a minute. Ask yourself, what do I want at this moment, and do I really need it? If not, stand up and do the right thing, the thing you know you need to do. One small, right action. That's how the Stoics lived. No drama, no waiting for inspiration, no need for perfection. Just action, repeated. Discipline, freedom. Don't wait for some grand awakening or life-changing breakthrough. Freedom doesn't come from the outside. It begins the moment you act, even in a small way, in alignment with what you know is right. And once you're holding the wheel of your own life, the next lesson is this: don't let others set your pace. Because true freedom isn't just about self-control. It's about protecting your rhythm in a world constantly trying to make you dance to its beat. Number 9. Don't let others set your pace. What are you waiting for to finally start living? A steadier job, a more supportive partner, or just a simple nod from someone you don't owe anything to? Every morning, you wake up, check your phone, scroll past some quote about being true to yourself, and then carry on living according to everyone else's expectations. Have you ever noticed you're waiting for permission to live? You want to learn how to draw, but you're afraid people will say, "Aren't you a bit old for that?" You want to take a week off just to sit somewhere quiet and listen to the wind, but you hesitate, worried your co-workers will talk. You want to start a business around something you love, but you scroll through social media to see if anyone else is doing it first. You're not doing anything wrong, but you're not really living, at least not in a way that's true to you. Stoicism doesn't ask you to cut yourself off from the world. It just asks one thing: who's holding the remote control to your life? If the answer isn't me, then you're being steered, by habit at best, by fear of being left behind at worst. And the saddest part, you already know what you want, but you're still waiting for someone else to give you the green light. People often say, "Slow down," but no one says, "Move at your own pace." For some, 5 a.m. is the golden hour to go running. For you, maybe it's 10 p.m., when your mind finally lights up. So what? Who's stopping you from writing a novel at midnight? Is there a law that says happiness only counts if it's witnessed by a crowd? Have you ever seen a traffic light turn green just for you to walk into your life? Of course not. You don't need a green light. You are the light. One day, you'll look back and wonder, how many things did I skip just because I was afraid of seeming weird? And here's the heartbreak. No one was watching. While you were putting your life on hold for them, they were putting their lives on hold for someone else. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In plain terms, if you want freedom, you have to stop needing validation. That discomfort you feel when you leave your comfort zone, when you do something others don't get, is the sign that you're finally living on your own terms. And here, Friedrich Nietzsche, who wasn't even a Stoic, follows up perfectly. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. If you don't lead yourself, something or someone else will. People, circumstances, impulses. Pause for a second. Think of something you know you should do, but keep putting off, just because no one else around you is doing it. Got it? Now don't write a plan. Don't talk about it. Just do it today, even for 10 minutes. That's not a small thing. That's a quiet declaration. I'm back in charge. Time doesn't wait. The crowd doesn't care. But you will remember every moment you were brave enough to hit play. So stop waiting for someone else to say, "Go." You already have that power, and you've had it all along. We've just explored 9 lessons from Stoicism, 9 powerful reminders to stop living on standby, to stop hovering on the sidelines of your own life. From realizing that the present moment is all we truly have, to understanding that discipline is the path to real freedom, they all point to one truth. You don't need anyone's permission to start living fully. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now. Action isn't just the first step. It's proof that you've woken up, that you're ready to leave the waiting room, the place where people stall, make excuses, and slowly fade. Stoicism is your quiet but steady companion, reminding you that peace doesn't come from avoiding the storm, but from becoming strong enough to walk through it. If something you heard today resonated with you, woke something up in you, or simply made you pause and reflect, hit like to let the algorithm know this is the kind of message worth spreading. And if you want to keep walking this path of mindful living, of reason, of no more delaying, subscribe so you won't miss what's next. No need to rush, but don't keep waiting. Life won't wait. And you already have everything you need to begin.